name is Darren Morrin. Go by Morro quite a lot to a lot of people. My first experience of rugby was I went to school in Malahide Community School, so just down the road from here in the club. And a very good friend of mine, David White, said, "Would you come down and play rugby?" And I went, "I'm not sure." I was always the bigger kid. I was like, "I'll go down and give it a shot." And came down on a Tuesday night, and I've been in here ever since, literally. I think rugby is not just sport, it's the environment outside it, it's your teammates, your clubhouse, your links to Leinster Rugby and IRFU and stuff. And I think that's what I like about rugby. It's a family environment. No matter where you go or what clubhouse you go into, you're going to talk to someone about rugby. You could walk into a pub in the middle of Limerick and you'll end up talking to someone about, "Oh, I know him from him," or "Oh, I used to play that game as well." I would identify myself as an openly gay male. That's how I would identify myself. I've been openly gay for many years now, and that would be my terminology I'd use. For me, it was a journey. I think everyone goes through it who's a member of the community, and it's just to kind of get comfortable with it before you start telling everyone. Had a few dark days and quiet days, didn't know what I was kind of thinking or where I was going to go with this, and how do I tell people, how do I not tell people, do I never say it, do I just pretend for the rest of my life? I moved to New Zealand, so I moved to Christchurch, probably 10, 11 years ago, and it was kind of, I went for rugby reasons, didn't play a lot of rugby over there, but went for rugby reasons, so it was more of a social side to it. When I was away, kind of rumours start going around that I was gay. So when I came home, I think a lot of people would have heard stuff or would have been, "Oh, sure, Morro's gay," and this, that, and the other. So when I came back, it was kind of, I landed on Friday and I ended up playing a game on the Saturday straight away. I don't know how jet lag didn't hit me and I wasn't asleep by the half time, but I played it, I enjoyed it. And I kind of I knew people had been talking about it. I was comfortable enough with it at that stage, so I was like, "Grant." And lads asked a question and I said, "Yeah, I was," and we just went on with it and played the rest of the game or went for a beer afterwards. We all want to be here. We all want to be in your own club. You're all like, we give our time, our money, our effort to our club. So why shouldn't it be a nice place, a nice, safe environment for people to be themselves? It's a tough old world out there, so if you can have a small sliver where you can come down and chill out and not have to worry, I think it's a nice thing to have. I never screamed from the top of the clubhouse that I was gay and stuff. It was more just, if people asked a question, I would have corrected them. Like, "I'd be going to the president's dinner with your girlfriend." I'm like, "No, I'm going actually with my boyfriend." And they'd be like, "Okay, yeah, cool, okay." And some of them were grand, and that was the awkwardness over and done with, where some would have went, "Okay, cool," and walked away, and it would have maybe taken them a couple of weeks to kind of get comfortable with it, which is fair enough.
Do Malahide have her back?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I think that's a good thing with Malahide, and probably why, and when I say to people I'm 20 odd years in the club, they're like, "Jesus, why are you so long in one club," and this, that and the other. And I think I've came through the system here, and I've played rugby with a lot of people for many years, and I think would always support me no matter what. When you're involved, especially in a scrum or in the tight five and stuff, you've got to trust who you're with. And I do trust my teammates, and I hope they trust me. I've had one or two experiences playing rugby. A couple of years back, I was playing with the seconds, and a homophobic slur was used, not at me, but it was used on the pitch. And at the time, the lads knew I was gay and stuff, and they were like, "Geez, that's not on," and stuff, this, that, and the other. And to be fair, and I would give credit to the captain of the seconds, he straight away said, "I'm not taking this. You wouldn't use any other slurs or offences on a pitch." So he called the referee, made it aware to the referee. Referee called both captains in, had a chat with him and said, "We're not accepting that." He dealt with the scenario very well. He said, "Look, lads, this is not acceptable on this pitch. Rugby is a game of core values and respect, and it has to come across." So absolutely, from that day on, I knew Malahide were always going to stand there and be protective. For me at the time, I was comfortable enough in my own skin, but you don't know what your teammate's going through. You could be going through the exact same journey, and it's just not comfortable enough to say the words just yet. For me to do this interview shows that we're not quite there yet, especially within the AIL structure and the men's AIL structure. I think I wouldn't know off the top of my head any other openly gay players. That's not saying that there's not. I just literally think that we're not there yet in terms of being open among clubs and stuff. And look, I'm sure there is a few other lads within the IAL structure that are open to gay players and stuff, but it's a two-way street. Like, players need to have support from the club and the club needs to have support from the player. I think just having conversation is a big thing. In my opinion, it's just a simple conversation. I think having that honest and open conversation and just having that support there for people to say, how you getting on, or if it's Pride Month or June, or I seen you last week, how you getting on, how's the partner, or having a normal conversation. Like, yes, I think there is maybe some educational tools and some talks and stuff that can happen, and I think that's a good thing for everyone. Like, we're in a different world than what we would have been 20 years ago. I'd say it's getting better. I would genuinely say it's getting better. I think, yes, things are still going in the right direction. We're still a couple of years away from where we want to be. But for me, if this helps one person to go, do you know what, rugby's maybe my sport I don't want to pick up. Or maybe if one person goes, I'm comfortable enough to maybe tell my teammates. Instead of living it on your own, tell people. The first few times are going to be horrific and they'll be so stressed, but your teammates will always have your back. No matter what happens, they'll always have your back. So I think if we can just get the message across that it's okay, things are good. Trust your teammates, trust your club, trust your IRFU, trust Leinster, Munster, Connacht and Ulster, and it'll be all good.